Major uncertainty is building at FC Barcelona as the January transfer window approaches. In today's video, we break down the latest developments surrounding Marc-Andre Ter Stegen, as the Barcelona captain sets a clear condition for a possible January exit amid his surprising status as second-choice goalkeeper. We also dive into Robert Lewandowski's honest response about his future at Barca, where the Polish striker opens up on contracts, pressure, Hansi Flick's project, and his burning ambition to win La Liga and the Champions League despite entering the final years of his career. On top of that, we analyze Barcelona's urgent defensive dilemma, with Andreas Christensen facing a long-term injury, and how the club could use part of his salary to register a new centre-back this winter. And finally, we reveal how 23-year-old Gerard Martin has quietly transformed into a reliable centre-back under Hansi Flick, becoming one of the biggest positives of Barca's recent weeks. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for daily Barcelona news, transfer updates, and tactical analysis. Barcelona outcast sets clear condition for January exit. A fresh report from El Larguero has shed light on the increasingly delicate situation surrounding Marc-Andre Ter Stegen at FC Barcelona, with sources close to the club captain making his stance very clear ahead of the January transfer window. According to the report, those close to the German goalkeeper insist that he will only consider leaving Barcelona in January if he receives an offer from a club that genuinely matches his level and status in European football. Ter Stegen finds himself in an uncomfortable sporting situation. With Joan Garcia currently ahead of him in the pecking order, the longtime number one is effectively the second-choice goalkeeper. That alone would be enough to unsettle most players, but the situation at Barcelona makes the scenario even more complex, especially with financial pressures influencing sporting decisions. Girona interested, but, unsurprisingly, this situation has not gone unnoticed across La Liga. As previously reported, Girona have emerged as one of the clubs monitoring Ter Stegen's availability, with the idea of restoring him to a clear number one role. However, SEO makes it clear that this option is far from straightforward. This is because Ter Stegen's current salary is considered far too high for Girona's wage structure, and Barcelona are not prepared to continue paying his full salary to facilitate a move. This financial mismatch has effectively cooled the possibility of a January switch, at least for now. People close to the goalkeeper stress that he is not desperate to leave and is approaching the situation with patience. Another key point highlighted in the report is Ter Stegen's mindset regarding the future. Those around him insist that he is not obsessed with the World Cup, nor is he driven by panic over minutes on the pitch. His priority is stability, dignity, and competing at the highest possible level, whether that remains at Barcelona or elsewhere. Barcelona veteran responds to uncertainty around his future. The decision will depend on. Robert Lewandowski has spoken openly about his future at Barcelona, offering clarity on his mindset at a stage of his career where every decision naturally carries extra weight. Rather than avoiding the subject, the Barcelona forward addressed it with calm confidence, making it clear that uncertainty does not mean concern. With his contract running until the end of the season, Lewandowski stressed that there is no urgency surrounding his next step. In fact, he stated that he feels no pressure from the situation and sees no immediate issue that needs resolving. There is still time to decide. I don't feel any pressure and I don't know which path to take right now, he said, not influenced at all. Lewandowski then moved to dismiss the idea that outside influences or financial discussions will shape his future. He was clear that his decision would not be driven by interest from other clubs or by salary-related compromises. I don't talk to the coach about possible interest from other clubs. Nor is it a question of having my salary. The decision will depend on what the club wants and what I consider best. The veteran striker added important context by pointing towards the sporting side of the project. For Lewandowski, the key factor will be Barcelona's long-term vision and how he fits into it under Hansi Flick. The outcome will be conditioned by the club's sporting plan and the role I may have under Hansi Flick. Still very hungry. Rather than sounding like a player preparing to step aside, Lewandowski instead reaffirmed his hunger for success. Far from lowering expectations due to age, he made it clear that his ambitions remain unchanged and firmly elite. I want it all, to qualify for the World Cup, win the league and the Champions League. I know I'm in the final stretch of my career, but I still have very high ambitions. Finally, the Barcelona number 9 offered a positive assessment of the team's current direction. There has been a noticeable improvement. Everything is a little more stable and that helps the team perform better. The atmosphere in the dressing room is good, he concluded. Source: Mundo Deportivo. Barcelona are hoping to make a signing during the upcoming winter transfer window, with Hansi Flick having asked for another defender to be brought in. Confirmation of Andreas Christensen's long-term absence due to a partial ACL tear has left the Catalans in a difficult position at centre-back, where there were already doubts about when Ronald Araujo would be back from his leave of absence. If it is confirmed that Christensen will be out for at least 4 months, Barcelona would be able to use a portion of his salary towards signing a replacement. Given their well-documented financial woes, this would likely be the difference between a signing being possible or not. No decision has yet been made, but soon one will need to happen. As per MD, Barcelona have until the 15th of January to deregister Christensen, and thus move to sign his replacement in the transfer market. Barcelona able to use 50 to 60% of Christensen's salary as per La Liga rules. Barcelona would be able to use a maximum of 80% of Christensen's salary towards a replacement, as they did with Marc-Andre Ter Stegen earlier this year when Joan Garcia was registered. However, the report notes that the Catalans would only be allowed to use between 50% and 60%, given that the season is always halfway done. Still, this would equate to €5.2 million as a minimum, and €6.5 million at most. Barcelona would consider this enough to sort a replacement, but the question is whether a player of quality can be brought in during a period where it is notoriously difficult to do transfer deals, given that clubs are reluctant to sell mid-season. It remains to be seen what Barcelona decide on this matter. It makes sense for Christensen's salary to be used, but sorting a replacement is easier said than done. How 23-year-old Barcelona star prepared for his new role under Flick this season. The departure of Íñigo Martínez in the last summer transfer window left a big void at FC Barcelona. After all, the veteran Spaniard was one of the key cogs of the domestic treble-winning team in the previous season. It left manager Hansi Flick with a major task of finding the ideal defensive partner for Pau Cubarsí. Ronald Araujo was tried but did not always work. Eric Garcia did well, but of late his presence has been needed in midfield due to injuries. Given the circumstances, the Barcelona head coach turned to an unlikely solution in Gerard Martin, and the experiment has worked a treat. Indeed, the 23-year-old left-back has excelled in his new role as the Catalans' left-sided centre-back since last month. Since his first game in the position against Athletic Club, Martin has been a regular starter in the role in 7 of 9 matches, being benched only against Chelsea and CD Guadalajara. How Martin prepared for his new role. Now, Marca has come out with an extensive report shedding light on how Gerard Martin prepared for his role as a left-sided centre-back. It is not an entirely new position for the Spaniard. During his time at Cornellà, he often played as a centre-back, although within a back three where he operated on the left side. In fact, during pre-season, the Barca coaching staff had already tested the Catalan player in that role. His strengths were already evident at that stage. A high percentage of aerial duels won, ability to play out from the back and reliability in 1v1 situations. But, to be able to perform at such a high level in a back four, the defender has carried out extra work in video sessions. To refine the defensive concepts, Martin studied the movements of his teammates in different matches and phases of play, watching clips of Cubarsí, Andreas Christensen, Eric and Araujo, examining the strengths of each. However, the most important reference has been Íñigo Martínez. The Basque defender is the model Martin looks to, firstly because they are both left-footed CBs and secondly, because of the understanding he had with Cubarsí and the leadership he conveyed on the pitch. In addition, Martin also closely studied how Martínez activated the offside trap and has worked on it over the past month and a half. Íñigo's departure was a major headache for Flick, but the emergence of Martin as an option in central defense has been one of the major positives for Barcelona in recent weeks. Barcelona are entering a decisive moment. With Ter Stegen prioritizing status and dignity, Lewandowski still hungry for silverware, and Flick forced to solve a defensive crisis, the coming weeks could shape the club's short and long-term future. The emergence of Gerard Martin offers hope from within, but financial limits and January market challenges mean every decision must be calculated. Whether Barca move for a defender, stick with internal solutions or face tough exits, one thing is clear, this winter window will be crucial. Let us know in the comments. Should Ter Stegen stay or leave? Should Barca renew Lewandowski? Do they need to sign a defender in January? If you enjoyed the video, smash the like button, subscribe for more Barca content, and as always, Visca Barça.